a new write-in candidate for the position of SA President. She will be with us in studio tonight, and PR Chief of Staff Brittany Moore does the executive address, and Indiana Governor Michael Pence vows to reevaluate the Religious Freedom Act. This is SA Today. Good evening and welcome to SA Today. I'm Topher Lane. When the Religious Protection Act was adopted in 1993, same-sex marriage was not legally a factor. Now, Indiana has implemented a Religious Protection Act, which allows for store owners to refuse business to gay customers. This act, originally aimed to protect minority religions, may leave room for discrimination of people based off their sexual orientation. This act would enable store owners to deny service to anyone based on religious beliefs. David C. Long, a member of the state Senate, assures Americans that this law was not created with the intent to discriminate and will not do so in the future. Governor Cuomo recently released a taxpayer-funded travel ban to Indiana. The Iranian nuclear talks were supposed to come to an end today, but according to the Associated Press, talks have been pushed back to Wednesday. Sources said that negotiators are not expected to release a complete deal. Instead, they will issue a renewal of the talks, accompanied by a document explaining that the progress the parties made during this round of negotiations. The prosecution in the Boston Marathon trial closed Monday with raw details of killings. Sitting in the courtroom were Bill and Denise Richard, parents of Martin, the 8-year-old whose horrific death occurred at the marathon bombings. His parents, in addition to 92 other witnesses, highlighted the horrors of the event that took place 2 years ago next month. Thursday is the annual meeting of the Center State Corporation for Economic Opportunity. Parimal Kopar-Dekar, the principal investigator of the Unmanned Aerial Systems Traffic Management for NASA, will be the keynote speaker. Kopar-Dekar will speak to the developments of the technologies related to unmanned aerial systems. Center State, based in Syracuse, is a member of the NU Air Alliance that will announce its Business of the Year award winners at the event itself. A Syracuse middle school has less than 1 year to reach marked improvement before it will be controlled by a state-approved overseer. Grant Middle School has not delivered for the past 10 years by the standards of the federal government. State legislature has allotted $75 million to the total 27 schools struggling to reach the standards of the government. Syracuse natives are hopeful schools can satisfy the requirements for the following year. The Syracuse community got a chance to hear from their Secretary of Defense today. Ashton Carter visited Syracuse as part of his first domestic trip since taking office. Carter met with members of the Institute for Veteran and Military Affairs to talk about transitioning service members back to normal life after they leave the military. Carter also gave a speech that was open to the community. He answered questions about the Iranian nuclear deal, the crisis in Ukraine, and the changing face of warfare. The Student Association and Graduate Student Organization at Syracuse University have raised concerns of free speech on campus. Last month, after a vast number of complaints and grievances, Chancellor Kent Syverud created a work group to address these concerns. This group met for the first time last week. The group will continue to define goals and main questions with hopes that SU will address them in the near future. As of Tuesday, the United States pledged to cut its greenhouse gas emissions up to 28% as a component of international treaty aimed at the prevention of climate change. To aid the international call to action, Syracuse has formally divested endowment funds from coal mining and other fossil fuel companies. Syracuse has a history of supporting for responsible environmental stewardship that it hopes to maintain throughout this difficult time. The chairman of the Board of Trustees at Syracuse University is stepping down. Richard Thompson's term at the end of the year. Usually, the chairman receives an honorary degree after his or her term ends, but the Daily Orange said that some of the members of the nomination committee voiced concerns over awarding one to Thompson. The university is set to announce the list of honorary degree recipients soon.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Brittany Moore, the Student Association Chief of Staff. SA will be hosting the first ever CUES conference, where student leaders will discuss topics surrounding the theme of your university. The CUES conference will be held on Sunday, April 29th from 1 to 6 in the Herg Auditorium in Newhouse 3. This summer, SA will be running a pilot program where undergraduates can do research and be awarded with a $1,000 stipend to assist with their desire to do research. Students will need to find a faculty advisor and apply by April 20th at 5 p.m. More information and links on the CUES conference and the undergrad research program can be found in your inbox and an email from Student Body President Boris Gressley. There will be a candidate forum organized by SA on April 12th to allow students the opportunity to ask candidates questions. The elections will begin April 13th and end April 16th. A bus will run from Shine to Wegmans and Target for students on April 12th and April 26th. We have more content posted on our blog, which can be found at SyracuseStudentAssociation.wordpress.com. Don't forget to like Student Association on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at SA@SU for more information. Thank you.
Coming up next, could you get paid to stay at the school over the summer? Also, I sit down live with the newest Student Association write-in presidential candidate Tatiana Cadet. We'll be right back.
If I got to go to college, oh my goodness. I like discovering new things. You get to see what works for you and what doesn't. That helps you evolve as a person. You get to make like a supernova of skill or talent or whatever it is. I've always wanted to go to college. I just feel like that's my destiny. My name is Queen, and I am your dividend.
I think that Citrus TV is important because especially this year, Syracuse has been in the news so often, and we've often been there first to be able to cover that and really deliver it to the students.
Citrus TV News is for our campus and our students.
The great thing about Citrus is we allow students to tell their stories, and we get to listen to their concerns.
Citrus is important because we cover campus news in a way that no one else really does.
Citrus TV is the voice of Syracuse University, and it's something we're very proud of and a responsibility that we take very seriously.
So, I just moved in with his family, and it's embarrassing. The little one, he likes to go outside and crawl around in the giant litter box. I don't know what he's doing. I mean, I was born and I knew how to use the litter box. Look at that! That's disgusting! Oh, poop already! You're making me nervous. Oh, okay, I can't look at this anymore. I really hope he grows out of this, for his sake.
The Student Association is rolling out new funding for students doing research during the summer. Students can apply for a $1,000 grant for research with Syracuse professor of their choosing. SA hopes to award 7 grants for this summer by April 30th. If this summer is successful, SA hopes to apply for funding for the program from the Provost's office. President Boris Gressley sent out an email to the student body about the program last week, and the SA Director of Academic Affairs presented it at their meeting last night. Joining me in studio today is Tatiana Cadet. Tatiana has recently announced her campaign as a write-in candidate for SA President. She's running alongside vice presidential running mate Fatima Bangura. Tatiana, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So let's start off. You're joining this campaign yesterday, correct?
Yes.
So this is a very recent development. What got you interested in running for SA President?
Well, my team and I had looked at the platform of the current running candidates, and we noticed that they weren't really fighting for what the general body really wants, what the student body really needs. So I feel like they were inadequate in terms of addressing what the students really need.
Okay, and so what is your platform? Generally, how would you sum up what you're hoping to accomplish if elected?
Sure. Well, I'm focusing on 3 main points, starting with SA, followed by community, and then security. So each one has its own specific focus, but overall, those are pretty much the umbrella terms for what our platform is about.
So what would you like to emphasize in security, for instance, or any of those umbrellas?
One of the biggest things I have in terms of security is the Bird Library entrances. We noticed that after 8 p.m. they close on one side, and it's interesting that they're putting it on the side where the street is rather than on the side where the Syracuse students community is predominantly. And we think that it's an inconvenience. There are students who walk through those creepy little alleys on the side of them, and it's not necessarily safe or secure. So we feel like we should have a conversation on how to change that.
All right, and so now that you're in the candidacy as a write-in, what are you doing to promote your campaign?
Well, social media is one of our biggest assets for sure. And also reaching out to those students that we know that these are what they stand for, this is what they agree with. We're going campaigning to them and knowing that we have their vote and we're fighting for what they stand for.
Do you have any specific groups that you're looking for endorsements from or that you're really working out of?
Well, we aren't necessarily honed in on one specific one, but we have a great support team so far.
All right, so what are some things that you would do differently than the current SA administration?
Currently, I would make SA more inclusive and welcoming and pretty much foster student engagement. I really want students to know exactly what SA is, brand it in a way that they can have a greater understanding of what it means and how it's a beacon and asset to them.
Do you feel that it's not inclusive now?
I do feel that way. I feel that at this moment, if a student were to come to an SA meeting and want to speak on something that they feel very passionate about, they're not given that unless someone is allotting them that time. And you don't really see SA much on campus in terms of flyers. You don't, like a lot of students, I've walked up to them and said, hey, I'm running for SA president. They're asking me, what is SA? And I think that that's something that we really need to address. We need to address what SA is, what they stand for, and how we can propel that moving forward.
All right, Tatiana Cadet, thanks for being here. Good luck with your campaign.
Thank you so very much.
Coming up next, we'll have your full weather report and how does Hollywood really feel about Justin Bieber? Stay tuned to find out.
Here is my handle and here is my spout.
When I get all steamed up, then I shout.
Tip me over and pour me out. Oh. The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Cheers. Take time to be a dad today.
They're coming. Places, everybody.
Light check. 1, 2, 1, 2.
Everything looks good on our end.
And lights.
Come alive with the forest. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you. There's a shelter pet who wants to meet you. Meet one today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org. Adopt.
Well, April showers might actually bring May flowers this year. Temperatures are expected to stay partly cloudy and in the upper 30s to 50s, followed by a 50% chance of showers this weekend. And in the world of sports, the Sweet 16 and the Elite 8 wrapped up this weekend. While there were many close games and near upsets, 3 1-seeds secured their spots in the Final Four. The highest-seeded team, Michigan State, a 7-seed, dispatched Louisville here in Syracuse to move on to Indianapolis, where they'll meet up with the Duke Blue Devils. Overall number 1 seed Kentucky will take on Wisconsin, also to round out the remaining teams in the tournament. The Final Four will take place on Saturday night and the championship game on Monday. Well, you got to give it up for Justin. He started from the bottom, and now he's still at the bottom. That was one of the jokes, the nicer jokes, that were made at Justin Bieber's roast last night on Comedy Central, hosted by Kevin Hart. Snoop Dogg, Shaq, and even Martha Stewart did not miss the chance to roast Bieber. Countless F-bombs and sexual references were made, and Bieber somehow kept a smile on his face and apologized for his past behavior at the end of the show. Well, that's all that we have for you tonight on SA Today. Be sure to check us out on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all of your favorite social media sites. I'm Topher Lane. Have a great night, Syracuse.